the items that are going on and the other people that would like to speak and address the council. So we'll begin today's meeting with an invocation followed by a salute to the flag delivered by Mr. Jansen. Please rise.
Let us pray. Good and gracious Heavenly Father, during these trying political partisan times, we just ask for your strength, your wisdom, and your grace for the American people. Lord, we just ask you to put a blanket of protection over our first responders and our military as they preserve our peace. And Lord, mostly we thank you for the sacrifice and propitiation of your Son, Jesus Christ. For it's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Golding? Here. Councilmember Horn?
Here.
Councilmember Jansen?
Here.
Councilmember Mesa?
Here.
Councilmember Nichols?
Here.
Councilmember Sutton?
Here.
Mayor Hoffman?
Here. Moving on to approval of minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes from the regular city council meeting held on March 6, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B.
I move that we approve the minutes from the council briefing held on March 13, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Pursuant to the passage of our legislative policy manual a few months ago, we are changing around how we do the agendas a little bit. So over the next couple of meetings, those of you who are paying attention might notice some changes. So the first change will be what's coming up next on the agenda, and that is the approval of the agenda. So can I have a motion for approval?
I move that we approve the agenda with ordinance number 2023-8193, downtown CRA height incentive stricken from the agenda.
No.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Golding.
I would like to request that we keep it on the agenda so that, or at least I'd like to ask the city attorney to explain to us what would happen if we were to approve this motion.
The agenda as it's presented will be utilized for the order of business today, except for that one item which will be removed.
But what's the disposition of that item if we don't hear it on the agenda today, or what happens with that item?
It's stricken, so if it comes back, we would have to come back through the regular course of putting items on the agenda. It doesn't roll over to a future meeting as it did in this instance when we deferred it from an earlier meeting to now be reconsidered at this meeting. So it's just gone unless someone brings it back intentionally.
My feeling is that we need to address the agenda item and either vote it up or vote it down, either way, just so that we put closure on the item. That's my input on it.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the agenda with ordinance C stricken from the agenda. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Golding?
No.
Councilmember Horn?
No.
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Councilmember Mesa?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. We've approved our first agenda. Moving on to council announcements. Ms. Golding.
Thank you, Mayor. Several announcements for anyone who has not been paying attention for the last month or so. We have an election tomorrow, and so we have an opportunity to elect a mayor for the city of Jacksonville and some at-large council members who should be representing us here at the beach. So I hope that everyone, if you haven't voted yet, that you will get out and vote tomorrow. Also want to mention some things that are coming up. We have a hazardous and e-waste collection that's going to be this Saturday, March 25th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at our Public Works building. And that the landfill that can be properly disposed of, that's hazardous or e-waste. Also, on Tuesday, March 28th at 5:30 here in City Council chambers, the City Council is having a workshop with our planning director and I believe our consultants to discuss the supplemental standards that's in our land development code. As some of you may or may not know, we are in the process of updating our comprehensive plan and our land development code. And those are very large documents and very important documents that guide the development and the future direction of our city. So the supplemental standards are things like accessory uses and structures, alcoholic beverage establishments, outdoor restaurants and bars, fences, and vacation rentals. So those items will be discussed. I believe the planning director will have some questions with regard to what direction we want to go with possible changes to those areas. And then one last thing is we have paid parking has started in the downtown. And for those of you who may not know, residents can park for free, but you need to register your car, or your cars, I should say, if you have multiple cars. And you can do so through the city's website. I don't know, Mr. Stefopoulos, can you provide direction as to where citizens can find that registration for the free parking?
We'll let Commander Tom Bingham address that, since he's our parking expert.
Hey, good evening. Currently, it's posted on the police department webpage. If you go to the city webpage and enter the search block for residential parking, it'll take you to that link for the SP Plus registration.
Okay, thank you
He
so
said
much.
that so fast.
I'm sorry.
How many areas do you have to go to?
So it's currently on the police department webpage for the city website.
Okay.
That's where it's listed. If you go to the main page under jacksonvillebeach.org, in the search bar on the top right, and enter residential parking, it'll take you to a link to get to that. We're also in contact with Jacob Moore to see if we can put that under the resident tab, or we can put it a little bit more separate.
Okay, thank you so much. I would highly recommend if you don't have your car registered that you do so, because it's nice to be able to park in the downtown area and not have to pay. Thank you.
Mr. Sutton.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quickly, as most people probably know, March is Women's History Month. And if you don't, you probably should, and so now you do. The Beaches Museum and Historical Society has been recognizing various women of influence around the beach that go way, way back, which is awesome. And I thought it'd be appropriate here in our final meeting in March to recognize the elected women officials in Jacksonville Beach over the years and recognize, thank them for their tireless service and influence to this great community. So I think I've captured them all. But obviously when you start calling out folks, you run the risk of inadvertently omitting someone. So hopefully, I apologize if I do, but individuals such as Benny Furlong, Margaret McQueen, Martha Ann Sibley, Penny Christian, Janelle Wilson, Georgette Dumont, and of course you two up here, Sandy Golding and Kristen Buffman. Proud to say I knew all of these women in some form or fashion over the years, which just means I'm old. But also sad in a way that there's only this number of names here, and you know, more women could have and should have been in leadership positions long before they were. So thanks to all of you guys for all your service during Women's History Month.
Thank you for that recognition. The only one I can think of that you can add for when you do this next year in March is Linda Spence. Anybody think of anybody else? All right. Mr. Jansen.
Just real quick, Mr. Bingham, can you speak to the bicycle registration program that we started to piggyback off of the parking?
That's right.
The bicycle registration program, the DNA bicycle registration program?
Yes, we had one about 2 months ago. It's an ongoing process, so if anybody wants to come into the department, they have to make an appointment or anything. They can come into the station 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and we can get that done for them. We're also looking into hosting a bike registration event within the next month.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Mesa.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a couple things. First weeks ago in regards to Mr. Ken Marsh, about the email he sent that I accidentally missed. He sent an email February 27th to the mayor, myself, city manager, and the chief of police in regards to the content of the tavern marquee. I spoke to him personally over the phone in regards to it. Furthermore, due to the recent volume of emails, I unfortunately did not see the email until it was too late. Otherwise, I would have responded. For that, I did apologize to Ken, and I also want to apologize to you all. There's no excuses, just many emails. Now, announcements. We're going to Tallahassee. There's a lot of bills that are going up for legislation, especially HB 833. Just to give you an example, a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and Jacksonville Beach Police Department went to an Airbnb where there was many criminals in there. They were all arrested. If you want more information on that, you can go onto the City of Jacksonville website, Police Department on Facebook or on Instagram. But if you could please email our state reps and tell them it's important to keep our home rule, so like that, the City of Jacksonville can have somewhat of regulation on these Airbnbs that are acting out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mesa. I wanted to follow along in the Women's History Month theme and say that I was honored to visit with St. Andrew AME this weekend, where the late Councilwoman Margaret McQueen was honored, and I was delighted to be able to read a proclamation there. She was not only one of the earlier women who served on our council, but she was the first person of color, not just woman of color, but she was the first African American ever to serve on our council, and that's just a footnote in a long list of great things that she did for our community. So it was an honor to be there. It was also great to see Reverend Dr. Helen Jackson, who was the first female to lead St. Andrew AME. So it was a great morning, and I was happy to be there. Also, if you missed it, in addition to the election going on, Oaxaca Club is opening today. I'm not one to ever go to a restaurant in the first couple of weeks. I like to let them work out the kinks, but it is an exciting addition to our landscape downtown, so I hope you will take some time to check it out. Moving on to courtesy of the floor to visitors. First card I have is Mary Phillips. And we are using a makeshift microphone. You guys might remember from 2 weeks ago that our microphone failed, so it's already on. Just come up, say your name and address, and do your thing.
My name is Mary Phillips. I live at 934 10th Street North here in Jacks Beach. Social media video leads to arrest at short-term rental in Jacks Beach. Firearm seized at Jacks Beach Airbnb. These are headlines from the beach's leader from February 16th and March 16th of this year. Multiple arrests, firearm seizures, felony narcotics charges, and 20 to 40 people exiting these homes in residential neighborhoods. These headlines led me to do a little research over spring break. A quick look at Airbnb website shows over 1,000 homes in Jacksonville Beach on their website, and the VRBO site boasts 1,184 vacation rentals. I wondered how many of these meet the registration requirements to operate in Jacksonville Beach, because we have an ordinance for that. Ordinance number 2019-8118 sets forth the requirements for registering a vacation rental in Jacks Beach. The purpose of the ordinance seems to be to protect the neighborhoods from excessive noise, increased on-street parking, accumulation of trash, diminished public safety, and to ensure permanent residents enjoy the right to tranquility and peaceful enjoyment of their homes without intrusion by an excessive number of transient occupants. On Thursday of last week, I went to the planning department with 10 addresses of rental homes in my neighborhood. Of these 10, 6 are not registered at all. 2 have applied but have not been issued the registrations, and 2 have been inspected and issued the registrations. The 2 rentals from the headline both applied for registrations last summer, but neither has been inspected or issued the certificate to operate. So, why is there a backlog of inspections, and why are so many rentals not even on the radar for inspection? Well, it's because council didn't think through this ordinance, whatever council it was that voted it in. And doesn't ensure that we have the manpower to enforce it. Tonight, it seems like you're going to do the same thing with the height ordinance, pass it without thinking it through. Sending things to the voters without specific criteria. I've asked at prior meetings, and I'm asking again tonight, that this council focus on the current problems we have in Jacksonville Beach and fix those before you add to them. Specifically, I am asking that this council ensure the appropriate manpower to identify and inspect every short-term rental home that is listed on Airbnb and VRBO in the city of Jacksonville Beach. The safety and security of our neighborhoods is at stake. My vision of embracing the beach life doesn't include the guests next door being gang members, toting assault-style rifles in the yard, or possessing narcotics. If we continue to allow short-term rentals to go unchecked, we will continue to invite problems into our neighborhood and neighborhoods. Please direct your time and energy into fixing the problems that exist in the city today before you open up our city to new ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Mr. Marsh.
Ken Marsh, 2011 Gale Avenue. My concern tonight is the continuation of a failing to follow our downtown vision plan. Since 1987, our downtown has had a plan to remove blight and encourage the proper mixed use of downtown development. That plan included 8 agreed-upon core values that laid the foundation of the plan. For the sake of time, I won't list all 8, but I'll highlight 2. These are family-friendly and small community feel. But since 1987, 36 years, the result of development has been primarily hotels and bars. Recognizing that our plans were not being followed in 2020, Council asked Cliff Shepherd Group to review both the 87 and the 2007 Downtown Vision Plan and identify areas where they were still relevant. This body approved that consolidated version. The problem was and continues to be that many council's members, both past and present, do not adhere to any plan. The essence of a stated plan means that we have a goal. It stands up to the test of time. It is not altered by the whim and fancy of whatever council is in control. The most recent example was in last week's council briefing, where many of you are spearheading, promoting, extending festivals, and including the selling of mixed drink alcohol. On page 60 of the downtown plan, and I'll paraphrase, these are a myriad of issues pertaining to overall development of an area that needs to be addressed, which include overconsumption of alcohol, underage access to alcohol, crowd management, and public disorder. And even though the idea is on hold, it should not even be on the table. These 8 original core values are still a part of the document today, but you oftentimes would not know it. Later tonight, the public will address the proposed agenda on the additional height incentive, another example of the whim and fancy from council. At what point will you actually follow a comprehensive strategy, a vision plan, one that requires a maintenance plan that actually works, creates a visually appealing downtown experience, one that creates and uses architecturally sound design standards, one that blends the proper mix of restaurants, shops, offices, and residences, and one that has a long-term parking strategy so folks can access those mixed-use facilities efficiently. For over 10 years, I came directly to council asking you to have a sense of urgency in executing our agreed-upon downtown plan. And at the very minimum, I asked that we at least fix the broken and duct tape bollards that line First Street. Those bollards just got fixed a couple of months ago. It took 10 years. Tonight, I hope my plea to follow the agreed-upon downtown plan gets more consideration than my plea to fix street bollards. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh. Colette Sellers.
Microphone come this far down. Can you hear me? Dear council members, the last time I saw Bill Latham was at a Mother's Day symphony concert on what became Latham Plaza. Do you know how he dedicated himself to recreating an old Florida community gathering place that all citizens, young and old, could enjoy? Do you remember also in the early 2000s how Sandy Goldie worked tirelessly to support the citizens' desire to prevent a wall of high-rises on the ocean and 4-story buildings or even higher in our downtown that would be uninviting and block out the sun. Were you here then? As time passed, several city council and planning department decisions chipped away at what we had achieved. An 8-story building that reminds me of a warehouse was allowed to be constructed in the middle of our downtown district with the implied promise that the city could use parts of the 4-story incorporated garage to alleviate an inadequate number of parking spaces in the district. Additionally, several council members refused to allow the Citizens Participation Project to even consider a children's playground on a small corner of Latham Plaza because it would interfere with festivals. Developers who had high-rises grandfathered in built their buildings, but not really for the benefit of our city. Now the council is being lured into giving up the ambiance of Latham Plaza, but for whose benefit? As a business owner, resident, and a property owner in Jacksonville Beach for 30 years, I asked the council to ponder these issues as long-term citizens, not just for short-term goals. The city government, including the council, does many good things that allows us to sleep well and not show up at meetings. But we hope you will not be blind to what we ask. To keep the citizens' interests and long-held wishes ahead of the latest developer or others' desires. Thank you for listening. Colette Sellers, 115 3rd Street South, Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Thank you.
Thank you, Colette, and my apologies. No, you can go ahead. You're good. My apologies to everyone else. Colette's card was not attached to an agenda item, so even though she did address an agenda item, a lot of you are going to have to wait to speak to as we work through our other items. Just wanted to give apologies for that. Kevin Brown.
Kevin Brown, 1833 Kings Court, Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Before I go into my spill, I want to thank all of y'all for all your support that you give me on the projects on the beach. It has been outstanding, and I'm grateful, and I represent plenty of volunteers that are grateful. So I want to say that first. But I'm here tonight. I support y'all on a lot of things. I want to maintain our quality of life in small North Florida beach atmosphere. I travel all over the coast of Florida, East Coast, West Coast, Panhandle, Big Bend. There are several areas in Florida that, to use a word, fight to maintain old Florida. I've seen the Panhandle turn into, let's call it the Redneck Riviera, to be precise. All these people come in, Panama City, Pensacola, Destin, all those places have fought to keep it and can't keep it out. I've been to West Florida, Sanibel, Captiva. Those people down there fight to keep that wholesome, in this case, Southwest Florida. The Keys, gone. You start coming up the East Coast, Jupiter, the Intercoastal Waterway, full. Jupiter's busting at the beam. Riviera Beach is no longer this nice little place to go diving at Blue Herring Bridge. I'm here to say we've got Adventure Landing, y'all got development. You've got Gonzales Park, you got development. I don't know why we need to raise the height limit on these buildings. And I've always used common sense when I think about things. And I always try to serve one cause.
and I go 100% at that cause. I don't know how we can serve two kings, two ideologies. We are either going to overdevelop or we need to maintain this nice little beach quality of life. It's something to think about. You can't overdevelop and you can't maintain that little quality. It can't happen. I've seen it. You either got to legislate against it or you got to maintain what we have now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and we're not going to be applauding or shouting out from the audience as we have in previous meetings, just as a reminder. Same apology, and just for future meetings, we have changed our speaker card around a little bit. So the courtesy of the floor section of the agenda is to speak on items that are not otherwise on the agenda. You can come and speak on anything that you're interested in. You have 3 minutes to address the council. But if you are coming to speak on something attached to an agenda item, we do want you to indicate that so that we can put you in. There's a nice little organization system here so that we can call on you when it comes to be that agenda item's turn. So I do think the next person is speaking to something that is not on the agenda. Rich Rice. Great. Come on up, Rich. If you give us your name and address, you'll have 3 minutes to address the council.
Hello, yes, my name is Rich Reese, 429 16th Ave North, Jacks Beach. Thanks, first of all, for the time that you spend to make our community better. I really appreciate that. I'm sure it's long meetings, lots of effort, so I appreciate that. I'm here to talk about nuisance smoke. I'll get through it quickly because I definitely want to talk about the building height as well. But I think that building owners should be able to use their property within the limits of the law as long as they don't prevent their neighbors from using the property as they would like to. And the shift from the Jacks Beach local fire department to the city fire department may have had some unintended consequences. Specifically, recently, my father's got lung disease, COPD, heart disease, had some major complication from COVID. So he was over yesterday for a little barbecue, and we have a neighbor that likes to burn leaves in their backyard, generates a tremendous amount of smoke. By the time the police department arrives, it's down to a level that it's quite subjective. What is nuisance smoke? In the past, if there was any issue, we've been there 12 years, I think maybe 3 times, 4 times, maybe we've had to call the fire department. The fire department would show up, say, hey, someone's got a problem with the smoke there, can you please put it out? Now it's a little bit different. The fire department doesn't want to get involved. They leave it to the police. The police department comes by. It's quite subjective. It's not, they've got the Airbnbs to deal with. Within their limits of what they're able to do, they're trying to work with folks and say, hey, it looks like he's got everything under control. But yet, my father we had to usher him inside. I can send to you an email from his doctor, no smoke at all can he have in his lungs. The whole thing is filled in the backyard. So I'm just looking for some help. I've worked with the fire marshal, he's been very supportive. The police department's always been very supportive. Just talked to the fire marshal, he's kind enough to even call me last night to try to help me out with it. But if I could just ask to maybe provide some training or go back to maybe how it used to be, where if you're using your yard in a way that prevents someone, especially for medical reasons, that they can't be in their backyard, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. That is the only, or the last card that's indicated that it's not attached to an agenda item, so we'll move on to our city, you may see if you have a copy of the agenda in front of you that we have a line there that says consent agenda. That's something that will be coming at a future meeting once the city manager has had it and the city attorney have had a chance to discuss the process for that with the council. So stay tuned for more exciting agenda news. Under city manager and new business item A, Ms. Gossett.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Ashley Gossett, CFO. The independent audit of our fiscal 2022 financial records is complete, and a briefing was held at 5:30 today for our independent auditors to go over the audit and the financial statements.
The city once again received a clean audit opinion for both the city's financials and the CRA financials, and council is being asked to accept both at tonight's meeting. Once accepted, staff would like to submit these reports for consideration for the Government Finance Officer Association's Certificate of Award for financial reporting. We've won this award for the past 29 years, and we're confident that this report will also receive that award. Our external auditors are here tonight to answer any questions you might have about the financial statements, as am I.
Thank you, and a motion.
I move that we accept the annual comprehensive financial report and community redevelopment agency financial statements for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2022.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from council? Mr. Jansen.
I just want to thank you, Ashley, for your hard work and your commitment to our community. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you. I also join with my fellow council members and thank you and your team. I know there's been some shifts and transitions internally, and you guys have handled it so well as to Ms. Boyd and Ms. Camp, who have become fixtures on the second floor of City Hall, for seeing us through, and appreciate all of your efforts and partnership with the City of Jacksonville Beach for another wonderful annual comprehensive financial report. Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Meza,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes. And monthly financial reports.
So this item is the monthly financial reports for February, which represents 5 months of activity, or 41.4% of the annual budget. And as always, I'm available to answer any questions you might have about the reports.
Thank you. And a motion?
I move that we accept the monthly financial reports for the month of February 2023.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Meza,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes. Item C, Mr. Barron.
Hello, everybody. Dennis Barron, Director of Public Works. The item before you is an approval of a purchase in the amount of $48,800.60 for some stormwater replacement pipe. This is part of an ongoing project. I've inherited since I've been here for 3 years. We've been talking about it. We actually got made aware that we can actually do some replacements because this is outside of our purchasing policy limit. And the timeliness of this, because we're kind of under the crunch to be able to get this done before turtle season starts again. I need to get this approved to be able to purchase this pipe to begin replacing some pipe onto the beach outfalls. And I'm available for any other questions you may have.
You got a big nod from Kevin Brown back there when you mentioned the turtles. And a motion?
I move that we approve the purchase of stormwater pipe for dune outfall replacement of Ferguson, Jacksonville in the amount of $48,860.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any questions from council? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Meza,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. And Kim Bett, there she is.
So, good evening, Mayor and Council. Kimberly Bennett, Director of Human Resources. So at the briefing last Monday, Karen, Heather, and Jason talked to you about some proposed changes to our position classification plan. Those consisted of adding a new position title in Human Resources, adding 2 new position titles in Planning and Development, reclassifying 3 positions in Park and Recreations, reclassifying 1 position at Beaches Energy, and adding 1 job title to the position eligible to receive an automobile allowance list. So I'm here asking you to adopt Resolution 2140, 2023, amending the position classification and pay plan. Heather, Jason, Alan, and I are here if you have any questions.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you read the resolution by title, please?
A resolution of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, amending its position, classification, and pay plan for managerial, professional, and administrative non-union positions, providing for adoption of recitals, adoption of the plan, repeal of prior inconsistent resolutions, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you. And before I request a motion, we do have one speaker card on this item. Barbara Bauer.
Yes, Barbara Bauer. I read through this and I have some suggestions or amendments, if you will, I would like council to consider. In section A1, public meetings, first, there is no time limit on the developer's presentation of his project. I propose a 15 or 20-minute limit that will spare us all the need to listen to the developer wax poetically for 20 minutes on how lovely his project is, how it will benefit the community, improve our lives, and increase revenue for the city, when we all know that the only thing it improves is the developer's pocketbook. Second, the public only gets 3 minutes to speak. Yes?
I'm sorry, you might be speaking to the wrong agenda item.
Yes.
This is on the pay plan.
I asked if I should speak under this or the other one, and they said to speak under this.
I think they were comparing the two height restriction ones when they were asked.
No, I asked if I should speak under the first one where you just let people speak on anything, and they said no, speak under the resolution.
Okay, but this is a pay plan resolution, and what you're speaking to is the format of a meeting, a developer presentation. So
it's got the same number, 2141. That's what it did. That's what it had on the resolution I read. It was number 2141, 2023.
You have 2140. You have 2140-2023.
Oh, well, should I finish or should I?
If you're comfortable finishing on an issue on the.
But do you want me to come back and speak under the other section?
I think that would be more appropriate. So you wanted to speak on the height issue?
I want to speak on your legislative policy manual.
Okay.
I thought that's what this was part of.
Yeah, that was at our last meeting.
And they told me to speak now.
Why don't we go ahead and let you finish, and then we can resolve it after the meeting. How about that?
Okey-dokey.
Just let the clock keep running.
Okay. The second, now I lost track, sorry, and my time's run out.
We'll let you finish since you have prepared remarks. Just go ahead.
Second, the public only gets 3 minutes to speak. If council really wanted public input, which you always say you do, you would give us back our 5 minutes. However, we could split the difference and you could give us 4. And it would be very helpful if you would start the clock after we give our name and address instead of while we're giving our name and address. Third, the developer also gets rebuttal time. Not very fair to the public. How about allocating 8 minutes total for members of the public to rebut the rebuttal? Fourth, I didn't see this issue mentioned at all, but I think it should be written into the manual. And that is, you should never, ever allow the lawyer for the developer or the developer himself to offer council an amendment on his proposal, which I have seen done. It's not really a good look. Actually, to us ordinary citizens, it looks a lot like collusion. In section 1.2, it states that agenda items need only be published by the city manager 2 days before a meeting. How convenient to slip in topics so the public is unaware of the issue. I would propose that that be changed to at least 7 days prior to the public meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have another card, Roger Whiting. So you meant to. Okay. Put that back in the pile. I guess we need a motion on this one?
I think so. I move that we adopt resolution 2140, 2023, amending the position classification and pay plan for managerial, professional, and administrative non-union positions.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from council? And we did have a briefing on this item last week, so we were able to ask some questions when it was first presented. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton?
Yes.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Horn?
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Councilmember Mesa?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. Item B, Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, Mayor. The resolution before you all tonight does two things. First, it extends the city's contract with the law firm Lewis, Longman & Walker. That firm provides us with special magistrate services. It also amends that contract to provide for a slight increase of fees and also to replace Wayne Flowers as our special magistrate with Brenna Durden at the end of this calendar year. Mr. Flowers has indicated he plans to retire from the practice of law at the end of the year, so that's the purpose of that change. We're very pleased with their services, and we hope that you will approve this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Will you read the resolution by title?
A resolution of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, amending and extending the contract between the City of Jacksonville Beach and Lewis, Longman & Walker, PA, for primary and alternate special magistrate services for code enforcement, providing for adoption of recitals, repeal of prior inconsistent resolutions and council decisions, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you. And a motion?
I move that we adopt Resolution 2142, 2023, amending and extending the contract between the City of Jacksonville Beach and Lewis, Longman & Walker, PA, for primary and alternate special magistrate services for code enforcement.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Golding.
I'd just like to say that Mr. Flowers, I believe, has done a very good job in this role for us over the years that he has been doing it. And I know Brenna Durden, and she's an excellent attorney, former Atlantic Beach City attorney, actually. And so I'm glad that she will be providing us the special magistrate services. I think she'll do a good job.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Sutton?
Yes.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Horn?
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Councilmember Mesa?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to ordinances. Paid parking. Commander Bingham.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thomas Bingham, Services Division Commander. I'm here to present ordinance 2023-8194. This will be the second reading, in which it will amend the Code of Ordinances 31-61. And I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Will you read the ordinance by title?
An ordinance of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, amending Code of Ordinances, Chapter 31, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Article 3, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, Division 3, Parking Regulations, Section 31-61, Paid Parking Program, providing for legislative findings, repeal of conflicting ordinances, severability, codification, and an effective date.
This ordinance is before the council for a public hearing and consideration on its second reading. I will now open the public hearing on ordinance number 2023-8194. I only have one speaker card, and that is Mike Stang, who does not wish to speak, but he opposes the agenda item. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of or against this agenda item? Seeing none, this hearing is closed, and I will request a motion to adopt the ordinance.
I move that we adopt ordinance number 2023-8194 on the second reading, amending City Code of Ordinance, Section 3161, Paid Parking Program.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Mesa.
A couple things. I was just parked at the Ritz parking lot, and the sign that's above one of the kiosks on 3rd Avenue North, there's nothing on it anymore. Yeah, it's completely green. There's no letters. It used to say the time of days of people parking and what you couldn't do, like tailgating, et cetera, there's nothing there anymore. And second, I had a situation at the parking lot a couple of weeks ago. I was going to work. And and this is for the record and for everyone here that is a Jackson Beach resident, are residents allowed to save a parking spot for someone else that's on the way?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. Can you say for the record for everyone so they know? Because I had someone that was saving a parking spot and they told me they couldn't park. I had to tell them, hey, you can't do that. So can you just...
Yeah, under the contract, we're unable to save spaces in the future for people to arrive. So it's, if you want to boil it down to first come, first serve.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Horn.
Just for the audience and for the purposes of people listening or watching YouTube, I think this was discussed at the last meeting, but there was a comment about addressing the 7th Avenue North end zone or that strip there, the parking area there, and the possibility that it may be being used for Margaritaville. I just want to let people know that we did look into that with the city manager, and we're going to readdress that at the end of this season. So if there's concerns there, I just want to make sure people are aware that this does not address that, but we'll try and work on that at the end of the year.
Thank you, Mr. Horn. Any other comments? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Meza,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Ordinance E. Do we have a presentation by our planning director?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Heather Ireland, Planning and Development Director. This is the second reading of Ordinance 8195 that would place a charter amendment on the May ballot to allow for the potential increase of building height on the Latham Plaza parking lot property, which the city owns, for a future mixed-use redevelopment project with a parking structure. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you read the ordinance by title?
An ordinance of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, submitting to the electors of the City of Jacksonville Beach a proposed amendment to the charter of the City of Jacksonville Beach, providing a ballot title, summary, and text for the proposed amendment, providing directions to the city clerk, providing for severability, an effective date for approved amendments, and an effective date for the ordinance.
Thank you. This ordinance is before the council for a public hearing and consideration on its second reading. I will now open the public hearing on ordinance number 2023-8195. We do have a stack of cards here, so we'll start to work through them. And I would ask please to keep your sidebar conversations to a minimum and no applause or shouting out from the audience. So we'll start with Harry and Pam Feuerherm, who do not wish to speak but oppose the ordinance. John Tipton does not wish to speak, but he opposes the ordinance. Luann Lentz does not wish to speak, but opposes the ordinance. Colette Sellers would like to address the city council on this ordinance.
That's what I spoke about earlier, but I thought you took this off the agenda. That's why I spoke.
Oh, okay, sorry, no. We just took there were two items regarding height, and we took the second item off the agenda. Apologize for that confusion. Thank you.
I misunderstood.
It's no problem, it was a confusing turnabout. Mary Phillips does not wish to speak but opposes the item. Chris Wheeler wishes to address the council. Chris Wheeler, come on up, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, my name is Chris Wheeler Watson, 1424 Blue Heron, Jacksonville Beach. I'd like to preface by saying speaking in public is terrifying to me, so I hope you understand how passionate this plea is to not only me, but a lot of people that I represent. If you're truly in tune with the residents who elected this council to represent us, you should understand the small town beach vibe that represents Jacksonville Beach. The attractiveness of our coastline and the charm of our community is what brings us here. It's what homeowners and renters pay for when they choose to live here. It's what visitors look forward to. If they wanted something different, they would spend their free time somewhere else. On the height variance, we can just look a little bit to the north at the eyesore that's on 3rd Avenue North. This complex, I think somebody discussed earlier, was more than likely a similar situation that got put through, and it literally does not belong anywhere in our community. It does not add anything to our community other than the ability for the owner of that property to make money. And of course, we do get tax revenue, I understand that. But the parking that's there is private. It does not add anything to the parking situation that we have. So really, it obstructs sunlight and ocean views, and as the parking being private, there's no reason for us to expect anything different than whatever multi-level project you guys are considering for the parking lot next to Latham. Also, a multi-level building at the town center could create any or all of the following that would be pretty difficult to correct after the fact. Overcrowding and decreased safety for pedestrians and bicycles, increased energy consumption, which would lead to more infrastructure changes for this downtown area, traffic and parking issues, and potential environmental and wind flow effects. I have been a resident here in Jacksonville Beach for 25 years, and I've seen some of the really great things the CRA has done. There is a need for redevelopment in some areas. What it does not cover is overdevelopment, and I feel like that's the direction that Jacksonville Beach is going, and it is not what the citizens of Jacksonville Beach want. So I'm asking, begging you guys to please listen to your constituents. We elected all of you to represent us and speak for us in this community that we all live in and we all love, and we just don't want to see it go down the drain. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wheeler. Ken Marsh. And while Ken is coming out, I think the suggestion to not start the clock until the address is read was a good one, and I will try to remember to do that.
Well, thank you. Ken Marsh, 2011 Gale. I want to express my opposition to the amendment. First off, I have a request for Ms. Robinson for her to publicly address, if she is prepared to do so, Ms. Dumont's concern of the last meeting on whether this particular amendment opens up any legal repercussions from others either within or outside of the CBD. I think that's really important for the citizens to know. But this amendment, or the vision plan, the downtown vision plan, which I mentioned earlier, is supposed to be comprehensive, and this is about one project. It's a scattershot approach. It's what we've been doing for the last 36 years, and it failed miserably. You say that the added height is the magic potion, but it doesn't address a parking strategy. It doesn't address our archaic development codes, our architectural standards, our walkability or pedestrian-friendly downtown. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, well, we need to close off the downtown and make it walking for walkers only or bicyclists. That's been brought up so many times, it's sickening. Let's figure it out. Safety. I have yet to hear an exit strategy for our dedicated downtown Cape staff. We keep adding to the budget, okay? It seems that if we've got a safety issue, we should be talking about how we can make the downtown safer so that we don't need a dedicated staff down there to protect the citizens and the guests. The plan calls for 3-story mixed use at Latham Plaza. That's what the plan calls for. That's what you agreed to. It also calls for 3 stories at the pier parking lot. Haven't talked about that, but that's part of being comprehensive. It talks about a parking strategy and garages. You haven't talked about that. Okay, so this is not about finding one project that leads to success. It is pulling on multiple levers at the same time with the same sense of urgency. Thank you.
Luann Lentz does not wish to speak but opposes the item. Michelle Tipton.
Michelle Tipton, 2333 Azalea Drive, Jacksonville Beach. As I reviewed the background on this agenda item, it stated conceptual criteria was presented at the workshop. Criteria would be further developed by the CRA. My question to you is, where's the list? If you go onto your website and somebody's going to apply to put a chicken coop in the backyard, there's more details and requirements in that than what you guys have put together for this parking garage. I mean, it's almost comical. If I were to walk into the planning development office and say, I'd like to build a house, and they'd say, okay, here's your application, I'd say, I'll get back with you, but I'd still like the approval. We can't be doing this. Why are you expecting criteria and objectives from people? It needs to happen, but it needs to happen from us as well as it needs to happen from you. There needs to be criteria, there needs to be details, and it needs to be on paper and discussed before it's going before a vote. It just is mind-boggling to me that you're not expecting details before a decision's being made when you all know the rules for us, when we have to ask for a variance. You know, I've got 6 pages here to build a damn chicken coop. How can you expect to approve to move forward with building a 5-story garage and you don't have a list? Where's your criteria? I mean, there needs to be an answer on that. There needs to be details, and you need to be held accountable to the same rules that you expect our citizens to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tipton, and we will ask the planning director to address that when we are in council discussion. Casey Braun.
Yes, Casey Braun, and you guys had your get-together about discussing this, was that it's parking, not building height. The height it may help with parking, but the cost in terms of loss of beach attraction is not worth it. Not to mention that there's a direct relationship between parking and traffic impact. Was there any type of research done on traffic limits within our area, what we can handle and what we can live with? It's getting dense, and any developer can stand here and tell you he only saw 8 cars go through a traffic stop sign in an hour, but you guys drive, you know what's going on here, and then it's getting worse and worse. This part of the beach is the only one that isn't completely blocked out with high-rise buildings yet. If this is developed to an extended height, it can't be undone. Just like someone was mentioning that it's difficult to compare work development down at Jack's Beach because of high-rise buildings that are around. Well, they affect future development, and everything we do now is going to affect future development as well. We may not compare with Neptune and Atlantic Beach based on those things, but to either side of us, we have the number 1 and the number 36 small southern towns in the south. And they managed to do it, they managed to develop it, and they managed to maintain it. And if you look at the history of development like Ponte Vedra Beach or wherever, and see how they managed to do it, they had restrictions, they had an idea and they stuck to it. And it takes time to develop. But if you stick to your idea, people that like that idea and appreciate it will eventually be attracted to it and it will develop. If you leave it open like this, nobody really knows whether to come or go. There was supposed to be more surveying on exactly what it would take to develop the downtown business district, and it really hasn't been done. I don't think that it's really that crucial because the property owners have already spoken out about this because they bought the land. And they bought the property when it was limited to 35-foot development. If they're hanging out now and holding back, it's because they're looking at a possibility to get something beyond what they initially figured on when they bought the property. So we need to let that go, get something done based on whatever vision we have for the future, make sure that vision really represents what we want, and do it. It can be done.
Thank you, Mr. Braun. Roger Whiting?
Hello, Roger Whiting, 1103 2nd Avenue North. Something that hasn't really been brought up yet. What was there before? It was a multi-purpose building that the citizens of Jacksonville Beach used for basketball recreation, volleyball recreation. The high schools would have their proms there. They would have their graduations there. The building got old and was way beyond repair. The concrete was deteriorated to that point. We were told it was going to remain for the public. Now we're going to give it to a builder. They're going to develop what they want because there's nothing on paper of what they can do and what they can't do. It'll be just like it was. Whatever they bring to us, we'll do it. We'll go ahead and do it. That's not what was supposed to be done there. When they tore down the old council, the old police department, oh, we're going to make it entry to the Jacksonville Beach. We got a pharmacy. We got one restaurant. They tore down a nice restaurant on the ocean front, put up a hotel. That's just not right, and that's not what we want. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Whiting. Salvatore Periano does not wish to speak, but is in opposition to ordinance B. Martha Skipper does not wish to speak, but is in opposition. Bonnie Mole does not wish to speak, but opposes the agenda item. Just trying to think of different ways to say it. Margaret Vest does not wish to speak, but opposes the agenda item. Barbara Bauer, I think we already heard from you. Oh, we heard from you on the other issue. Come on up.
Barbara Bauer, 604 13th Avenue South, Jacks Beach. Okay. Developers have lawyers to represent them before the city council. The city attorney and city staff represent the city's interest. The city council is elected to represent the people who elect them. If you don't represent us, nobody does. And clearly, very few members of this council are representing the people on this issue. The proposed amendment did not come from the people. As I understand it, it came from the city manager and staff, whose mantra seems to be, the land development code is out of date, so we should ignore it and do whatever we please. I have a better idea. Why not put a moratorium on all new development until we can get a new land development code and a new city comp plan, one that the citizens actually approve of? I would also suggest that Jacks Beach only look to our two neighboring beach communities to the north, which have managed to create a thriving downtown business district without allowing high-rise parking lots. In truth, the city and city council have created the parking problem by allowing high density in Jacksonville Beach. Our density is almost double the other two communities. Low-density residential units per acre for Jacks Beach, 6, Neptune Beach 5, Atlantic Beach 6. Medium density, Jacks Beach 7 to 20 units, Neptune Beach 5.1 to 10, Atlantic Beach 14. High density, Jacks Beach 21 to 40 units per acre. Neptune Beach 10.1 to 17, Atlantic Beach 20. On top of that, you've allowed new housing to be built with only a one-car garage, which already puts a strain on our street parking since most households now have at least 2 cars. So you basically created the problem, and now you want to do an end run around the citizens to solve the problem. Jacks, and I'm sorry, Mr. Marsh, I didn't know you actually had a plan when I wrote this. Jacks Beach does not seem to have a comprehensive plan for 10 or 15 to develop its center city. That I've only been here 12 years and I have seen no comprehensive plan for long-term range development. for a comprehensive entertainment or shopping district. Everything is piecemeal based on one or two developers' proposals for any given, excuse me, for any given block at any given time. And this charter amendment is just another example of a half-completed idea. You really should do some research on how other cities have accomplished this without destroying the very thing that makes them unique and special communities. Because if you don't, you will forever be remembered as the people who turned Jack's Beach into another high-density, high-rise, high-priced, ugly beach town that nobody wants to live in.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you
Sauer.
for your time.
Bobby Welton. Bobby, Mr. Welton.
Before we start my time here, I'd like to say two things. One, I appreciate all of your effort, your time, everything that you guys do. You volunteer, Brandon got elected. I think it's wonderful you to devote your energy and time to the community. And I think everybody here appreciates that. We may all not agree to everything that's going on here, but we as the citizens appreciate your effort. Secondly, I'm up here right now. Is this for the Latham property only, or is this for the overall 55?
This is for the Latham property only.
Okay. All right, hold on just 1 second. I want to make sure I can do what I want to do here.
Can you go ahead and give us your name and address, because I do need to start the clock.
Okay, I got it right here. All right, my name is Bobby Welton. I live on the 100 block of 11th Avenue South. I've been living here for 16 years. I've been up here to the council meetings repeatedly for 8 to 10 years. My sole purpose is related to numerous speakers here that we are turning the little sweet town of Jacksonville Beach into stupidity. I don't know what is the deal with all the development that has to be happening here, but the people that live here, live east of 4th Street to the ocean, don't want to destroy the beach of the Jacksonville Beach, and that's what we're doing. That's not right. Mentioned here numerous times, we don't have a master plan. The people here do not know what the plan is, and I don't know what this, do you know what the master plan of all this development is?
If you could address the council as a whole and continue with your comments.
Well, we never get feedback. That's another thing. We never get feedback from anybody. You'll just sit there and look at it and whatever. But the problem is there's no interaction here. We need to have the citizens involved with what the plan is. There is no plan now. It's like chaos, random. We have so many things. That parking lot there is right at the heart of downtown Jack's Beach. If you put a 55-story concrete structure there, it's going to look stupid. They're not going to look like we're at the beach. We don't want to turn this into Myrtle Beach. We have the parking in Margaritaville Hotel. I don't think that they have one space more than 1 car per room. That's not going to work. It's a hotel. Hello? Same thing with the Element. We got it right down here. They don't have one space more than the number of rooms in the hotel. That's not good. We don't know what we're doing here. We have other property. The land in front of, if you could switch the screen there, you can see there's a lot of 4 other properties down here that are empty right now that nobody knows what's going to happen. Are we going to build 55 buildings on those things? We don't know what we're doing. The citizens don't. I don't think you guys know what you're doing. If this can't have some more focus, some more purpose, I personally will sue the city to stop this, and I'm sure I can get a petition from thousands of residents to support the effort to stop this random catastrophe we're looking at. It's got to stop. We don't know what's going on, and we're asked to be approving us to put on the ballot for everybody. None of these other people that live around here, they don't know what's going on either. And they're going to say, oh, okay, we'll approve it or not. That's not what we need. We need focus. We need to put our glasses on here, a magnifying glass on what we're doing, because it's crucial. It has been going on too long, ever since I've been here for 16 years. The traffic has quadrupled, buildings are being built, every square inch of property that people apply to build on is exhausting the dirt. There's no dirt here left in Jax Beach because we're concreting the whole place. I'll come back and finish, but I have a number of other things to say, but that's the point of my statement.
Thank you, Mr.
And I
Watson.
appreciate your consideration that this has gotten out of hand.
John Tipton does not wish to speak, but opposes the ordinance. Robin Smith does not wish to speak, but opposes the ordinance. Jacqueline Phillips.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Phillips. I live at 75 Oakwood Road, Jacksonville Beach. I've lived here for 63 years, and I have seen so much go on that I don't really want to talk about. However, I was here when we voted and had a charter for a height restriction for Jacksonville Beach. The height restriction was what all of the residents wanted so that we would have aesthetics, we could all see the ocean, we wouldn't have the shadows, we wouldn't have all the problems, we wouldn't be another Daytona Beach, we wouldn't be Panama Beach. So I guess my big thing is, why are we changing the charter? Why are we making adjustments to the charter? And is that legal for us to make changes to the charter? Why are we doing that? So that would be number one. And really, does adding parking, does that really equal positive redevelopment? And can someone explain to me the rationale between the parking and the redevelopment, how that works and where the money is with that? I really don't like us to sell out to the developers. Just like a lot of the other speakers were talking about the overdevelopment of Jacksonville Beach and the other two beaches, Neptune and Atlantic, have really done a great job with their development, and we really don't have a plan. So really, what is our plan? And then there's another part of me that I'm talking for my daughter, my grandchildren. What am I really leaving them when I die? Am I going to leave them a place where they want to live, where they have access to the beach, where they really are proud of living in Jacksonville Beach? Or will they want to move to, say, another location where it is have community, a sense of pride that, wow, I love my beach. I feel community. Because right now, if we just keep saying, let's go higher, 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 where is it going to stop? It is going to be like Daytona. It is going to be a Panama Beach. We need to stop. We have to say, do not sell out to the developers. There's no reason for it. And I still would like to have an understanding of why we are going to change the charter. So, and to answer to the question is, do you all respond to us for questions in emails, or does that ever happen?
We'll address some of the comments when we get to council deliberation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen Foraker does not wish to speak, but is...
I did wish to speak.
Okay, come on up.
I checked the right box. I live, Stephen Foraker, 387 6th Street in Atlantic Beach. And I really don't, it's been so many years that I've had to involve myself with Jacksonville Beach politics. I go back and think of a true hero of Jacksonville Beach, and that's Sandy Golding, who was able to bring this community together and stop the high-rise, create a height restriction that you guys are just about ready to get rid of and set that precedent. I agree with the speakers, Barbara, Michelle, Colette, Kevin, Ken, Casey. They all seem to be against what you're about to approve, putting this ridiculous thing on the ballot. And I've seen so many redevelopment schemes come and go in Atlantic Beach. But I think what we'll probably need is new people on this council and maybe a new city manager that are going to run the city, not, as Michelle said, comically, without any criteria. As Casey said, this can't be undone. Once you build that, it can't be undone. And I'm not sure that you guys know what the heck you're doing, as someone else said. So I really start thinking about what you're creating in Jacks Beach. All I hear is, that because I keep up with it in the leader, Gonzalez Park. Well, you're making really bad decisions there. This ridiculous plan, you're making another bad decision here. And I'm not sure about some of the other decisions you're making, but it seems like a goofy way to govern. And one last thing, the vision. You don't have a vision, do you? I mean, you really don't. Thank you, Mr. Horn. Thank you, Ms. Golding, for your votes on this issue. And please, reconsider your redevelopment that really becomes overdevelopment, and don't be a disappointment to the rest of our beaches community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foraker. Tony Rufino does not wish to speak but opposes the ordinance. Pam Feuerherm does not wish to speak but opposes the item. John Wadman. John, are you still here? John Wadman. John is for the 5-story garage building and does wish to address the council, but he is not here anymore, it seems. Mr. Shields, Daryl Shields does not wish to speak but opposes the ordinance. Terry DeLoach does not wish to speak but opposes the ordinance. Margaret Fishback does.
I thought I marked that I did want to speak.
So we need to work on this. Come on up, Terry.
Thank you. I mean, I don't know how it's to follow the chicken coop, but that was really good. But Terry DeLoach, 405 32nd Avenue South, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. I used to, when I was on the planning commission, I used to say, if you can bring warm bodies to a meeting, as Greg Sutton, Georgette Dumont, and some other people know, that you can maybe change the mind of the city council. That's not very obvious right now. In the last city council, the last 3 city council meetings, did I miss something? Or where were the people that wanted the height increase? Where were they? Were there developers here? Were there citizens here that want the height increase? They're all against it. Jacks Beach, for the record, is in a period of unprecedented growth, due in part to the limited height. There is not a demand from the residents for this. There's no need to revisit this, not at all. And the residents have not called for this at all. It's manufactured. So there's not a reason to, quote, send it back to the residents. That's just one way of saying, okay, let's go ahead and put it through. It's kind of like a cop-out, actually. Well, let's just send it back and get their vote. They've already told you at 3 meetings they don't want this. All our neighbors are at 35 feet. And it seems like everybody that wants to dump something somewhere comes to Jacksonville Beach. Yeah, they'll give in. They'll put something in there higher. They'll do something that nobody else, Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, Palm Beach, will do. Jacks Beach, let's put it there. And that's what people like JWB and those developers, that's what they do. That's exactly what they do. And that's what they did with Gonzalez Park. That's what they're trying to do with this. And what we said is this is a test pilot. So we're not just talking about this single ordinance, we're talking about the redevelopment area, because that will be next. All I would do is urge you to vote it down tonight. We just need a couple more votes from you, and let's just put this thing to bed. Let's put it to rest. We don't need it. It's manufactured. We can do better. We can do much better. We have buildings right now at 35 feet that are really nice. They just built that new building in Neptune Beach on the left-hand side of 3rd Street. Very contemporary building with the parking underneath. Stunning building. We don't need it. The developers like it, but we don't need it. So this isn't really working, this process. So all I can do is urge the residents to actually, when they go to the ballot, to tell their friends just to vote no. Unless somebody tonight changed their mind and votes no tonight to give us the vote to vote this thing down. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry. Margaret Fishback does not wish to speak but opposes the agenda item. Ann Kern. Come on up, Ann.
My name is Ann Kern. I live at 3409 First Street South in Jacksonville Beach. I've been a resident for 35 years. I heard you say this is just about Latham Plaza parking lot. The Beach's Leader article named 3 parcels to be built on: Latham Plaza, Latham parking lot, and Sneakers Bar site. Well, that's what it said. I'm against the building height change from 35 to 55 feet, eliminating Latham Plaza, downtown open land, Latham parking lot where Jack's Beach resident who registers their license plate can park for free, and Sneakers Bar where sports fans, both residents and tourists, can enjoy a beer while watching their favorite sports team. Latham Plaza has been the site of many festivals, the Donna Marathon celebration and Deck the Chairs. Many residents and tourists enjoy these events in the wide open space where they're held. If this resolution is on the ballot May 16th, will it be clearly written so that voters know exactly the result a yes vote will bring? Will the 3 parcels be clearly noted as being eliminated? If history repeats itself, the resolution will be in legalese and not clear as to the effect it will have on our now charming town. Should this choice be on the ballot May 16th, I will make it my priority to inform voters what we will lose, and the best vote for Jacksonville Beach is a no vote. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Kern. We have a few that had submitted cards for ordinance C, and some of them have B and C, so I'm just going to run through them, and I think most everyone's already had a chance to speak. Mary Phillips does not wish to speak but opposes the item. Ken Marsh, you already spoke. Is Ken still here? Mike Stang does not wish to speak but opposes ordinance C. Gail Edgel does not wish to speak but opposes B and C. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on the ordinance? Come on up.
I'm really happy to Rich Reese, 14916 Ave North, Jacks Beach. Really happy to probably be the last speaker, which is great because I'm able to take an inventory of how many people came up here and demanded we have to build higher. We need more people, we need more cars, we need more parking. How many people did that? I can't. How many people, just show of hands, how many people do not want it raised? If you could. Wow. The only reason there's not 10,000 people here is because people thought that's what Sandy did years ago was standing. People don't know that this is at risk. And when you guys ran for city council, no one on their thing said, and Corey, I haven't seen you look up at the people, so please show some respect. This is very important. I haven't seen any of you guys when you were running for city council that said, more people, no more left turns. No one wants to make left turns in Jacks Beach anymore. We need more cars, we need more people, we need higher buildings. You guys never said that. No one knows this is at risk here. I was only here for smoke. I didn't know that this thing was going on. This is crazy. Everyone that I know that is on our block, everyone I know at the school who sees all the classrooms filled up in our school, everyone that's trying to drive on Penman at 4 o'clock, you can't go anywhere. No one wants more development. No one wants higher buildings, and as everyone said, there's no plan, and you're fixing the plan with more parking. That's not fixing anything. All you're doing is changing the look of the whole city, piece by piece by piece. I'm going to just say one story. There's a guy that lived here his entire life. He just left to go live at Live Oak, him and his brother. I saw him one day on the beach just crying. He's just sitting there crying because Miss Wilson's house, the one-story brick building where he and his friends used to go over to a house, really nice woman for lemonade, got broken into. The police were using it as a temporary building to break in, to practice things. That building, that house that meant something for the community was replaced by these double monstrosity buildings that has led to this 21 to 40 units in Jacks Beach. What are you guys doing? Who's asking for it? Why are you letting them do that? No one wants it. Absolutely no one wants it. And I really urge you at your next re-election to just put the truth on there. I'm voting yes for more building, and yes for more development, and yes for more people. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak? Georgia? Ms. Dumont? You've already had an opportunity to speak.
I registered to speak for the two issues. One,
we're only addressing one issue at this point, so you've already spoken on it.
well, if I'd have known that, I'd have spoken differently the first time.
I'm sorry about
This
that.
is a railroad job. Railroad job.
Georgia Dumont, 507 16th Avenue South, Jacks Beach, Florida, 22250. I agree with what I've heard, and Mr. Nichols is still looking at his computer.
Yeah.
And I can say that now because I'm over here. I am also going to say that people don't want it above 35. What can go there is 0 setbacks for 5 stories. And I know that's not what you want, and that's what Heather will come up here and say, that's not what we're planning, that's not what the RFP is going to be, and all of that, but we don't trust you. We just don't trust you. You have lost the trust of this community, and that's a very sad place to be in. I was frustrated up there, and now I can be frustrated over here with a whole bunch of other people. I've started a PAC, and if this passes tonight, we have a lot of voices and a lot of support to make sure it does not pass at the ballot. And that will be followed up by making sure that those who vote for it will not get reelected on the next election. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and request a motion to adopt the ordinance as read by title.
I move that we approve ordinance number 2023-8195 on the second reading for a charter amendment to increase the building height limitation on city property, Latham Plaza parking lot.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Discussion by council. Mr. Jansen.
Probably gonna sound like a broken record up here. The height restriction at 35 feet still remains in place with this. That's the message that keeps getting lost in this whole narrative.
I'm sorry, this is not a call and response activity. Please let him speak. We let you speak.
In order for any developer to go above 35 feet, even if it's 5 feet, they're gonna have to provide incentives to you, the community, whether it's oversized parking lot, whether it's beach access or facilities. There's a myriad of them. And a lot of these incentives were brought out in the workshop, which was poorly attended by the public. But Ms. Demott was there, and she actually discussed some of those issues. So this is about activating our downtown. The question of safety came up earlier, and I might have a little bit of experience in safety. But I can tell you this, you can't arrest your way out of a safety problem. That's not gonna ever happen. So what we need to do is we need to implement crime prevention through environmental design. That's a true concept. And with this project, we will be able to implement crime prevention through environmental design. It puts more eyes on the street, just like your own neighborhood. When your own neighborhood, you have eyes, you see when people walk up and down your street that shouldn't be walking up and down your street. So there's another element of safety for you. Mixed use also puts more eyes on the streets for you as well. And that's how you prevent crime. You activate your downtown, you have it so you have walkability. When I was campaigning, I went from door to door. I went to every door, knocked on every door, And the overwhelming message I heard from door to door was, I don't feel safe walking in our downtown at night. We have to do something about it. It was there just about every door that I walked in, that I knocked on. And so, to me, it was my responsibility coming to the council to work on making our downtown activated and safe, because there was a myriad of shootings that were going on back then. So since I've been in office, there hasn't been that many, thank goodness. But I listened to the people then.
Mr. Horn?
I guess two things. First, I wanted to make comments, but I wanted to ask if the city attorney could comment on the other issues that were brought up in regards to the fear of litigation, if this were to be passed, and what is the stance on that from the city attorney's side? And then I still have some comments, but I just want to bring that up first. Is that?
So, one of the difficulties in this conversation
Could
is,
you speak up louder? Nobody can hear you. The microphone.
one of the difficulties here is that the questions have been presented in very broad, nondescript.
Can't hear you.
And so,
Thank you.
here is just the standard that I advise my clients, and I will repeat it here for you. You can be sued for any reason at any time. The question is always to be, will that suit be successful? And so the complaints that I'm hearing and that I've had to infer from some very broadly framed questions is that somehow by this exception to the 35-foot height limit, do we unnecessarily create some kind of condition of unfairness with respect to other parcels? And the answer to that, broadly speaking, is no. And so I won't go through all the analysis that I've shared with members of the council, but the key is, if that's going to be the complaint, the risk of litigation might always be there, but the risk of successful litigation is not there. So if you want to have a more specific question answered, I need a more specific question. But if it's just in general, are we opening ourselves up unnecessarily to litigation? The answer to that is no. Will we face litigation? The answer to that is maybe we will. The other question should be, if we have that litigation, will it be successful? And so far, with the issues that I've specifically addressed, the answer to that question should be no. So I'm happy to maybe look at a more differently framed question, that's more specific, but based on the information, again, that I've derived from some of the questions that I've received, not only verbally, but in writing since the last meeting, I don't think that there will be any successful litigation that will flow from these particular amendments.
Okay, so, and as you said that, it just kind of popped into my head, and I guess, I don't know if this is the perfect place to ask. If it's not, just tell me no, and we can talk about it offline. Is there the possibility, because this is resolution to put this to a referendum and a vote by the citizens. And obviously, yes, people can sue us. I can sue, anybody for anything, absolutely, yes. But is there the possibility of success or someone suing the city to force another increase or the possibility of a development down the road to be put onto a referendum? They say, okay, fine, we're not asking you to do it by, writ, by resolution. We're asking you to, we want you now just do it the exact same way that you did as the city of Jacksonville Beach. You got it through on a referendum, so now we put it to the voters. Now we want to go out and put this to the voters ourselves. And I'm the developer, I want to build this big building, and since you guys got a chance to do it, can someone force us to do that?
Well, I would think the exercise there wouldn't make any sense to me, because the developer can develop his or her own PAC and undertake this exercise privately and force the issue that way. So there are some provisions in the state code where if what is being requested is not inconsistent with state law and they follow that process and enough people vote for it, then it goes to the ballot. So it can happen without them coming to the city and suing the city to have that as their outcome. But again, when you start speculating, could it happen? These are all hypotheticals. Yes, it could happen. And so again, you have to always go back to the question, if it happens, will it be successful? And I don't think that would be successful.
So thank you. First thing, obviously, I'm not an attorney. I appreciate your experience. I'm not a professional politician either. I do want to, I put some little notes down here. I want to say some things.
Can you speak more into the mic?
Yes, sir, sorry. First off, sorry. Yeah, thank you to everyone who came, and thank you for all the people that sent emails. Appreciate your input. Mr. Whiting brought up something I hadn't thought about in years. The big structure that this used to be was the flag pavilion. And I don't know if anybody remembers the flag pavilion. I've got a lot of really good memories from the flag pavilion. And as I started thinking about the idea of redeveloping this area, one of the things that just kind of popped in the back of my head, I was like, why don't we do something on the top of it or somewhere in there to, you know, not only shops and things like that, but there should be a community portion of it, whether we have a children's play area, something like that. I started thinking, and I was thinking about all the good times I had in the flag pavilion. Just kind of, it came back to me. I will say to the group, as I think about this, and before you throw things at me, let me finish my words. The only reason that I would think or consider an increase in any kind of height in the downtown area would be solely for parking. And I say that as a citizen of Jacksonville Beach and a citizen of the beaches for the last 38 years. Because, I mean, there have been days when I come down to downtown Jacks Beach and I can't find a parking space. And I live here. And it's difficult. Now, having said that, like I said, before you start throwing things, bear with me. Having said that, I also talked to a lot of people, and I've got a lot of emails from a lot of people, and they're like, hey, we voted, you were voted in for this, and technically nobody voted for me. I ran unopposed, so like, this is a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a great time up here. It's spicy. But ultimately, the old statement, you come with the one that brought you, and dance with the one you came with. I came with the people, and I will stick with the people. This has been decided before. I voted for the 35 feet previously. I have difficulty supporting this here in the vote here tonight. If it passes, I still think you're going to see a significant outcry from the citizens. And I think it'll fail at the ballot. But I want to say thank you to everybody for being involved. That's a lot of good community motivation. Appreciate you.
Ms. Ireland, while we have everyone's attention on this, can you talk about just height notwithstanding, can you speak to the project, where it came from, and then what the process would be in terms of RFP approval process, public comment opportunity, things like that? Again, not with height at all either way, but just in general with the process.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Again, Heather Ireland, Planning and Development Director. So it was mentioned previously, I think a couple of times, that we do have a downtown plan. We have a downtown vision plan and an implementation plan. This property was identified many, many years ago for some sort of vertical redevelopment project, mixed use with a parking structure, regardless of the height. It's been in the plan for years. It's something that council has directed the CRA and staff to move forward with. This particular project, as you guys know, we're also in the process of redesigning Latham Plaza, and we feel these two things go hand in hand together as the center of downtown to really spur a lot of new activities and improve downtown in many ways. As I think Councilwoman Goldie mentioned, we are also updating our comprehensive plan and land development code, and I will give you guys a more detailed update on that at our next workshop. But the process generally would be, we've already completed a market analysis that has identified that the need for downtown really is retail and office and commercial. And so we're taking that market analysis, and one of the things we're going to do is use that to basically put out a request for qualifications from qualified developers that we would then ask for a proposal on this site. It is up to City Council, the CRA, and staff to identify what we want to see out of this project. Whether we want public space, event space, art, rooftop dining, parking, whatever it is up to us to say to the development community what we want out of this project. We will get responses back, and then a determination will be made at that time. Who the most qualified, and who the one that checks all the boxes are for this project.
Thank you. Ms. Golding?
Thank you. I'm not going to say a whole lot more than what I said the last time, but I believe that we can activate the downtown within 35 feet. I believe that we can implement crime prevention through environmental design within 35 feet. We can have eyes on the street within 35 feet. We can just look at our neighbors to the north of us, and they're, as some of the speakers have said tonight, their town center is very successful, and it's less than 35 feet. I believe I feel that this is being pushed through prematurely. We need to, as some of our speakers have said, we need to focus on our land development code, fixing the problems in our land development code, fixing the problems in our comprehensive plan. We certainly aren't seeing any problems with people wanting to come to Jacksonville Beach to develop. I believe that I believe that we do not need to change anything at this point until we have updated our comprehensive plan and our land development code. We're also making a lot of changes in the downtown to activate the downtown, whether it's the downtown, or excuse me, the sidewalk dining pilot program, or some of the other changes that have been approved recently. We have a lot going on that it would be good to see what those things can do for our downtown without adding height into the mix at this point. So I still cannot support this.
Mr. Nichols?
Heather, just a couple of questions for you. The E3 process that you were discussing. The P3 process that you were discussing, can you go a little more into depth with that about how the public will be able to see what the developers are proposing? We'll have to go to multiple readings of the CRA and multiple readings of council if anything gets approved. And does this, if the referendum passes, I mean, does that absolutely mean we'll go to 55 feet, or is that, can you just talk about that a little bit more, please?
Sure, Councilman Nichols, thank you. So if you guys recall at the workshops that we had, there were some incentives identified. Some were mandatory, some were optional. It doesn't mean that every project would be able to meet all of those incentives. They're pretty specific. So mandatory ones, if you recall, included a project would have to be at least a half of a city block in one direction or another. And would have to have some sort of public amenities. And there's a whole list of things. I can read them all off to you if you'd like. But since this would be a partnership project between the city and a developer, we would take it through the process, what that exactly looks like, I think it would be in the form of a resolution, so that everybody is on the same page with what that partnership looks like in terms of the expectations of the city and the expectations of the developer and how we move forward, and that everybody is in agreement with that. So it would go through the public process, go through the CRA, perhaps even the Planning Commission if needed for a rezoning, for example, and then also City Council.
Okay, and then this passed in 2004, I believe. The height restriction was passed in 2004, and a caveat was put in there for this specific reason, to where in the future, if the voters decide through referendum that additional height would be allowable, that this process would on-go. I mean, it was included in that referendum. And it was 20 years ago, and there are people that are of voting age that weren't even alive when this passed. So I think after 20 years, it should be put up to the voters I don't know if it'll pass or not, but, you know, I think it is I think it's time to take another look at it.
Mr. Jansen?
Heather, just for the record, this project would only be the parking lot at Lathan Plaza, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct. It would only be the parking lot that's shown on the screen that is owned by the city. It would not include Lathan Plaza. It would not include the lawn in front of the band shell. It would not include Sneakers or the Sneakers parking lot. The city does not own those properties.
Correct. I just wanted to clear that for the record, because I know it was published out there and that information was false. And I'll also say this, that if this was just a blanket increase to raise the height limit from 35 to 55 to anyone who wants to come in here and build, I would vote against it. I would not be in support of it. If they're going to provide, if someone can provide incentives to the city, I would support that, because I think it's owed to you, the people, in order for them to even go 1 foot higher. That's mine.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? Mr. Sutton?
I'm just going to repeat some of the stuff I said a couple of weeks ago. It's been, as somebody just pointed out, I think Mr. Nichols, it's been 19 years ago that the Section 52 was passed, you know, limiting building height to 35 feet for a number of reasons like public health and safety and general welfare and everything else that it cited. And that remains in effect today, as we all know, other than the exceptions that were forced upon us by the decision of the district courts, where some properties were grandfathered in. But what Section 52 doesn't do is it doesn't remove the obligation and responsibility of your council to bring forth, as conditions could change due to things like parking or you know, other needs, to bring forth options for consideration. And again, it's been 19 years, so the decision does not lie with this council, it lies with the people. I think I think it has credibility in that we have such a significant parking issue in the CBD that we have no horizontal solution for. So parking garages will be built over the next few years. It's our only solution to solve some of the issues. You know, is a 3-story parking garage sufficient? You know, that's for you guys to decide. I think what this does on this one particular parcel is it allows the opportunity to partner with a developer, you know, minimize the impact to you, the citizens of Jacks Beach, as far as the cost of that, versus just going over here and building a 3-story parking garage that's going to be 100% on us. One of those two things will happen, for sure. So the beautiful thing here is that this is simply a recommended solution through an ordinance to amend that city charter. It doesn't have to happen. If you don't agree with it, then vote against it. I'm not in favor of anything further than just this particular parcel. But I think it has a validity for development in this area to sort of activate it, to provide the parking that would be eliminated by building whatever 35 to 55 foot building there. We'll need multiple levels of parking to replace that. And where it would sit does not provide any particular hindrance as far as views of the beach. We've got a hotel that sits east of it on the beachfront that's already taller than that, and just commercial development to the west of that. So I don't think it sets us up. The city attorney has spoken to that. I don't think it sets us up for any particular challenges from private property owners within the city. We're not going to be a Daytona Beach or a Panama City Beach. That's not, you know, this is not any more expansive than that one particular parcel. So, and somebody asked the question, why were we changing the charter? I think that was more of a technically what would go on. That's what has to happen. Because the decision is up to the people, that charter, that Section 52 would have to be amended if this were to go forth tonight to go to the people. So.
Thank you, Mr. Sutton. Anybody else? I just want to add some of the emails that I've received today and some of the comments have asked if we're listening to the voters, if we're listening to the residents, and I have to say, I've run 3 campaigns in this community, 4 if you count a primary. I've knocked on thousands of doors, similar to Mr. Jansen's experience, attended forums, meetings, visioning sessions run by our city manager, and without exception, every encounter, people want a vibrant downtown that's friendly, safe, and attractive to residents. They want outdoor dining, they want walkability, and they want it to be safe. We have a very unique opportunity here in that this is our property, and we can decide exactly what we want on that property. It's going to be redeveloped, but do we give it an extra 20 feet to allow for something? Maybe it's another floor of offices, maybe it's an additional parking, maybe it's a rooftop use, maybe it's a community center. These are all things that we will get to make the call on because it's our property. We are in the driver's seat in terms of what gets put here. So I do agree that additional height is not the only solution to downtown redevelopment. We are seeing some drips and drabs along the way, and parking is another big part of that. But I do think that this is a good one, specifically in this property, and why, to me, this is such a win-win opportunity. It's not blocking, it's not putting shade on the beach, it's not blocking any resident's view. It's at the back loading dock of Carrabba's and in front of a hotel that's much taller than what we're talking about. So if the voters vote it down, then we know. And the next day, we'll put an RFP on the street for 35-foot development. So that's the opportunity that the voters have. I agree with Mr. Sutton and Mr. Nichols. It's been 20 years. Let's revisit it with the voters. If they don't want it, they vote it down. If they do want it, then that gives us an opportunity to make best use of this space, which means giving a little extra height to put in those things that we want and that we know that our residents want. So with that, I don't see any other comments. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Horn,
No.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Meza,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
No.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all for being here tonight. This meeting is adjourned.